Hi guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get people over from the other stream because apparently it wasn't working. So, I have no idea how to get people back over here. The it was really glitching and I realized everybody was talking without me. So, I have to see if I can figure out how to get people back in or to tell them to go off and back in again. This has been a little bit. Hey, okay. I'm hoping other people can make it over because somehow I was watching everybody talk and I was talking and nobody was with me. Everyone was chatting with themselves. And I did this whole thing where I undid a bag I'm making and I was like, why is no one commenting on it? It's because I thought I was live and I was seeing all the people, but you weren't seeing me. So I'm trying to get back over to I don't know how to get the people who were supposed to be over here. I'm gonna see if I can get to the live and put in the chat over there. Um I don't even know because I stopped that one. I don't know if Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, Eileen, if you're in the other one, can you let them know that like something glitched where I was talking and talking and talking and nobody was there. So like you all were talking to each other and I can't get back in that one now. I'm still figuring out all the technology. So like I can't open up the one that had it says it's over. So I can't get in there. It's really frustrating. So I'm hoping people will join us over here. Um, so let's see. Let's see. I've got the one that's on live now and the live replay. I don't know if I can put a comment on the live replay. I'm going to see if I can. It says no content available. So this is the crazy part about doing live things, right? Um, I have no idea how to get into and put a comment on this one. Ah! I'm glad the people who are with me are with me, but there were a ton more. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm so glad Eileen let people know. I was watching everyone chat, and when I first came in, it was like, yeah, I don't even know how to put a comment over there because I stopped the stream so I could restart it. And then it wouldn't let me comment. Like I should have chatted, I should have put something in the chat. But I was sitting here talking for like 5 minutes and then I went, everyone's talking to each other. And no one's noticing the things I'm doing. So, yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I could have commented on my own live, but I didn't think I this is only like what my third live. Um and I didn't think to put something in the chat. Like I'm gonna try to put a thing in the chat now. Um, so I'm gonna say next time I'll post here. Okay, yeah, I should have done that. So I'm hoping that anyone else, like Eileen, put in a comment. Oh, your laptops keep saying that. So this is the thing. Like I tried to schedule it so I can just say hello, but see, we didn't get Edith back, which sucks. But I tried to like schedule something so I could just push the go live, and you all were waiting there and all commenting, and it was wonderful. And it said my internet connection was unstable, and it would try again in a few minutes. Yay, Edith's over here now. And it said it'll try again in a few minutes, but then it kept saying that it was live and it was working, but it wasn't working. So I'm gonna see if I can get to. Yeah, there's no video comments over on the finished thing that I did. Like that was 6 minutes. That didn't have me in it at all. I might have to try that over. I was like, I flipped this thing inside out, and and nobody saw me do it. That's really funny. Give me 1 second here. I want to see if I can put a comment over on the live that happened. Let's see, comments here. Okay. I don't know if I can put a comment on. I'm going to go to the main page and put a comment saying my video glitched. So bear with me, everyone. I'm so glad you're with me. I can't actually see your screen right now, but I'm going to say, I'm going to do a new post. Okay. The first attempt at a live glitched. Try to join the new one. Now y'all know how my brain works because I'm just talking out loud to y'all. Okay, so I'm coming back to here. Yay. Okay. Okay, yeah, because I started it and I was talking and everybody was talking to each other. And I'm like, this is lovely, but hi. Yeah, chatting is awesome. So this is kind of fun because it's like having the virtual sit and stitch, except everyone gets to chat to each other instead of seeing and verbally talking to each other. And I'm just gonna ramble, which is what I do regardless. So I had what you missed. I'm gonna see if I can turn this back inside out. So I was talking about things I've done this weekend. And yes, you can all talk at once and not have to worry about Zoom, like taking anyone out of anyone else. So this bag that I made, this bag that I made last week with this really pretty print to go with the embroidery has already sold to Mac. She is one of our Coach and Connect people for the Harvester. And she asked if she commissioned a Notions bag out of the same fabric, and I said there was enough, and I made her one. The zipper's a little finicky. I'm figuring out which zippers work and which don't, but that inspired me to list something. Thank you, Eileen. That inspired me to list something online of you can pick the size bag you want, a surprise me bag. You can pick the size bag you want if you want embroidery or not on it. And you can make recommendations or suggestions or hopes for colors. And if I can do that, I will. And so I had run downstairs. I should have been testing my connection and going live a little earlier, but I'd run downstairs because I'm in the middle of making someone a bag. Alicia, I'm not sure. Again, last time I was like, I hope I'm not butchering the name. And hi, Donna. Hi, everyone. Hi, we've got Deb, we've got Helene, we have Amy, we have Edith, we have all kinds of people joining us and let us know. Yeah, the Notions bag, I'm still working on the box corners and how to make them, but like this is super cute. Ta-da! The Notions bags are $25. They won't have embroidery on them. And yes, there's lots of people watching, but someone who is not part of the group I normally chat with, so I take it as an extra honor that they bought one. The day I listed them, they bought a bag, and I was in the middle of making this. This is before I turn it inside out. I've only boxed one of the corners. Everyone's giving advice over there. This is really great. So usually I box all the corners so it comes out like this. And thank you. And so it looks kind of crazy on the inside, but she commissioned a small project bag, the next size up from this one. And she wanted purple on it. And I was like, I did this big reveal, but no one could see me. So yes. So I was on the one that everyone was chatting on, but when I pushed go, my internet wasn't working. And so I had to restart, which meant it wasn't on the same one with the stream with everybody. And I'm still figuring out technology. So normally I would box all the corners. I have not even tried to box the inside lining corners yet before I would turn it inside out. But I figured that I would show you all. I only left a really small gap here, but they call this birthing the bag. So I'll just turn it back inside out because this is what I would do to check to make sure that all the seams, which I already know there's a few I have to go back and reinforce. But then you get to see what the bag looks like. And so everybody, since this glitched, we'll go a few minutes past 4. So I get to turn it inside out and like really get the corners looking good. And only one of the corners is boxed. So I was trying to show that this is what it would look like if I didn't box this corner. It would just be a big open bag. But I really like the look of the boxed corner like this. And yes, so she, Alicia requested purple because it's her favorite color. And so I'm just going to shove the innards in here so it looks almost like a finished bag. It's not quite. So I started with this batik fabric that has some really luscious deep purples in it. And then the other fabric I've used in one of the bags I've made so far. I have a lot of this from a bridal shower I made bags with a long time ago. So yeah, box corners means it sits flat. These, because I've got quilted batting in them instead of like interfacing or anything with a lot of structure, means the bigger ones will only sit up if there's a project in them. Otherwise they flop over. But this one, again, it's you can't see it when I do that, but I've only boxed one of the corners. I have to take it back upstairs and box this corner too. But what I'm experimenting with, and I'm really happy about, I think this one I have to redo a little bit of the stitching on it, but anything bigger than a notions pouch is going to have a handle on, like a wrist strap. And so this is the beginning of my wrist strap. And I also have, when they're bigger than the notions pouch, I'll put my little tag like this. I'm so excited. I'm learning how to do it. And it's like this one, the notions pouch will have my little stitched by sun dragon inside instead of on the outside, because there's not much room on the outside, right? But, and this, because Mac requested, I still get backwards on how to move things on YouTube Live. Mac requested this fabric only, so it's not a pieced quilting. I did strips this time. They do not perfectly, they match up at the bottom better than I thought, but they're a little uneven down here because it's handmade. It's not perfect. I'm doing a thing with the zipper based off of a makeup bag I have that gives it a little bit of space here at the ends. So it's not completely enclosed, just to make sure the zipper doesn't catch. Someone in there said, it was Amy. Do we call the shop or email you about a notions pouch? You can buy it online. I will put the link in. It's like a pre-order kind of, but I'm only doing one at a time. So if it says sold out, it means I'm already, here, I have to do this on a different browser that already has it logged in. I'm still with you all here. I'm just distracted. But if there's nothing available, it means I'm already making one in that size. So you can then you can contact the shop. I'm gonna put in the chat because I can use the chat, which I didn't, there was a thing. Anyway, I messed up the first attempt at a live over here this time. Yeah, these guys are like, so I put in the chat the link to the whole matrix, the whole drop-down menu for commissioning one of these. I don't have enough of this fabric to do another one, but I have enough of, I have so many cool things in my fabric stash. So the notions pouch is about this size. At the top, it's about 9 inches wide. This one, the box bottom got a little bit bigger because I got my measurements off, but 4 inches high, 3-inch box bottom. The small size is about 10 inches across. It's imperfect because they're handmade. The box bottom, when I actually do it on both sides, will be about 4 inches across. And this is about 6 inches high when the bottom is boxed. So it'll be more like this. And then there's a medium and a large size. And if they don't have embroidery on them, they're one price. And if you want some embroidery on them, like this one, this counts as between a medium and a large. It kind of came out a wonky size. But if you want embroidery that I've done, most of the embroidery I'm putting on these are not hand designed by me, but they're hand stitched by me. Like these are Amazon designs, but I do the stitching and then I find colors that will coordinate well with it. This one's already made and for sale. It's got I'm testing it. It's got my harvester stuff in it. But this one, you wouldn't have to commission. This one is ready to go and on my website. And that is the embroidery that I did that went in the middle of this. But making them for someone is really fun. Like I have another order with embroidery. Embroidery in the middle won't get done the following weekend. But anything people commission that doesn't have embroidery on it, I can try to get done the weekend after you order it. So yes, this is what I was working on and made me get here right at 3. And then right at 3 meant that there was a glitch with the online system. So now we know. Now in the future, if it's the one that everyone's sitting and waiting for and I can't restart it, I have to figure out how to restart it without just ending it. Because right now, the only thing it says down at the bottom is end stream. It doesn't say like go live again or reboot. But so I'll have to figure that out. But if I can't reboot it, when I don't seem to be there, I will put a chat comment that I'm going to restart it and go to my channel again. So, other things. So I'm really proud of this, and I'm about to start the stitching of the letters, but I'm probably not going to do that while I'm hanging with you all because it takes a little more focus. But I did this. Oop, I keep moving things the wrong way. This is my logo. I used a light box to sketch it from my logo, which I drew the original logo. And then this is all embroidery. And I waited until I was done with I really can't move things backwards. I waited until I was done with this part to transfer by the light box again, the letters, and I'm going to put the letters on underneath and then Brevard. And this one might just be for sale in the shop in its little frame, but I'm also hoping to do this again thank you. I like Sunny as well. I'm hoping to do this again and put it on a bag. Anything with embroidery adds at least $50 to the price because it takes a little while. But I have traced from a light box this guy, and this is the Dragon Treasure one from 2 years ago, and I want to embroider that one too. I think it'll be really fun. I saw over on the other one before it all glitched and went haywire that Amy, you were like, I wonder what's on the agenda today. And today the agenda is still just showing you all stuff I'm doing and stuff that I'm liking, and I'm dismissing a call. So sorry, I got distracted there. And then I think I'm going to work on my socks, because the 2 at a time sock seminar is coming up. It starts in less than a week. It starts on Sunday. And we have a few participants. I'd love to welcome more people in. That is going to be a lecture series, 3 different sessions on September 7th, September 28th, and October 12th. The first session, between the first and second session, is 3 weeks. That was because I was going to go away in September and that didn't pan out. But I still want 3 weeks so people can have time to start their own socks and get going on them to get to the heel. And the heel will be on the 28th. And then on October 12th, we'll have a final session for finishing the socks, wrapping up any other questions people have. It will be one of my more intense ones where I'm going to be recording. It'll be 2 hours each time we meet, from 1 to 3 on Sundays. and the total cost is $90. And I would love to have more participants in that. And then when we record it, you have access to the recordings to go back and look at them later. And it's going to be a combination of things I like best about toe up socks. So this is the one that I'm working on, that I'm trying to get finished, that I have like this mess of yarn left, And this has the way I'm going to be teaching it, which is Turkish cast on, backwards loop increases. The first session is going to be how to cast on and do the increases on the toe. And this is a different heel than what I will be teaching. This is the sweet tomato heel. I was talking with people on General Coach and Connect about possibly, sorry, I'm feeling irregularities in there, but I think it's because I let Liz knit a little on these for a photo shoot. I think it's fine. There's anytime you transfer between needles, there's going to be a weird gappy. We're going to be doing a short row heel instead of this one for the actual class, because this one's a little more complicated. I had people at the General Coach and Connect yesterday, though, who said, yeah, Jenna, I tried to change that one. I might not have caught all the things that change. And yeah, the sweet tomato heel is really good. And I tried to I'm talking to I'm getting distracted. It's one of those, it's been a long day already. I may do a session, like a pay session, that is just on the sweet tomato heel separately, like maybe next year. But the 2 at a time toe up sock class that's going to start next Sunday, which is in 6 days, is going to have a short row heel that is easier to get through in one sitting and talk about it and that kind of thing. I think the sweet tomato heel is going to need its own class that is not 2 at a time, because there's you have to really readjust your stitches to get that one to work. And that would work better with single socks if you haven't tried 2 at a time toe up socks yet. So, yeah, Jenna, the thing with the Lightspeed notice about orders saying we're closed in July, I thought last week I had shifted those to what we need to be on the notice now is that we only ship on Wednesdays and sometimes Saturdays. So people who order towards the end of the week, and it says if some of the notices, there's like 6 different ones I can switch, and I don't know what people actually get when they order. It's ridiculous on my online site, just me venting. Some people order on like Friday, and then on Tuesday they're like, where's my package? And if you order Friday, the turnaround time on that, sometimes we are not able to get them to the post office on Saturday. And Saturday, our post office is only open from 10 to 12. So the shop's already open, and we have to hope we can get to the post office while the shop is open, have someone free enough to do that. And so sometimes packages that are purchased late in the week, orders placed late in the week, don't go out until the following Tuesday or Wednesday. And we just want people to know that. So, but as you might imagine, there's a lot of things to stay on top of owning a yarn shop. And there's a lot of things to keep track of. And sometimes the notices, like the email notices, because there's the email notices and the online shop and the pictures and the morning meditations and the newsletter and and yeah, the 2 at a time sock is either 2 circulars, which is this method, or magic loop if you know how to and like magic loop. I tell people, if you haven't tried anything yet like this, where the stitches are divided in half, whether it's 1 sock or 2, I recommend 2 circulars if you have enough materials. Like if you have 2 circular needles, they don't have to be the same length, but they have to be the same size. I think that is easier than magic loop, but I'm going to be going over magic loop as well. And the question of can I order from Denmark? If you'd like to join the class, you can order from Denmark. You would put it in your cart, and I can put the class in your cart in the chat words. You would put the class in your cart, and then if you pick virtual class at checkout, it will let you go all the way through to checkout. That can't be used for physical products. Physical products, we have a more laborious process that we go through, and people have to be willing to. There's a couple things about sending things from here to other countries, and that is what I just put in there. Should be the sock class. That is that we don't have a good way to track and let you know about tracking, and it can take a really long time to get to you. We can't guarantee, shipments as well as we can within the US. And also, we only do $5 to $10 shipping, and we let people self-select for inside the US. And unfortunately, we use the US postal system. That's just what we do. And unfortunately, going outside of the US, it's really hard to know based on the weight, even just to Canada, based on the weight and the place that it's going. And I can look up a quote, like one-on-one. I can work with you to work up a quote and say, okay, for USPS, it's going to be this amount. And for the UPS, it's going to be that amount. And sometimes I can look up FedEx prices too and stuff. But it varies so much state to state and country to country and address to address that we have to work one-on-one with people. We can't just have a flat rate per item. Like, to figure that out would be very complicated. And we don't have the wherewithal to make the shop work that way yet. So we work one-on-one with people. And sometimes people from Canada and other places will say, okay, here, it's $30 to send this. And the yarn was one ball of $30 yarn one time. And they were like, yeah, I can't do that. And I'm like, I understand. But we couldn't do it with only paying $5 for the customer for shipping, because then we are losing money. So we are absolutely happy to ship things to other countries if people are patient and work with us, and we send them a PayPal quote for what the shipping would be. And we want them to know going in that, we don't know how long it's going to take. We may not be able to track it once it leaves our shores. And it may be a hefty price, and we don't have much control over that. We don't have like a bulk shipping rate or something like that. We are small potatoes. So, but I've already made one pair of socks with this yarn. I made ankle high pair, which I will show off at the class. And I figured I'd make a pair for myself with leftovers. I am getting so caught up with other things right now that I kind of just want to be done with these. So I tried them on yesterday at Coach and Connect. And even though it looks like I've got a decent amount of cuff here, it really is only the way that the heel is constructed. It's really only a couple of inches past my ankle, but I still may decide. I may try just knitting with y'all, but I might switch to the ribbing pretty soon. And then we'll just see how far I get with the ribbing before I decide they're done and I'm finishing them. Because I'd like to be casting on brand new socks with y'all. That's another thing I have sitting here is I have the Land du Nord painted sock. I started a sock on double points. I actually do really love double points if I'm making socks one at a time. And someone asked, should we have yarn? Mona was with us yesterday, and she asked, should I have the yarn already split into 2 balls for 2 at a time socks? And I said, it does help. You can go from the inside and the outside, which is what I'm doing with this. This is just 1 ball of yarn, and I'm going from the inside and the outside. But I'm dealing with yarn barf, and I'm dealing with tangles. Amy says I make double points look easy. I have a whole I have a somewhat contentious relationship with double points, but I have come back home to them. And it really is about, to me, for me, it's like ignoring the ones that I'm not working with, like, and or just trying to like keep them, say, you belong here, stay over there. But so my silly thing with double points is double points are awkward. Any small circumference knitting is super, super awkward in some way. And it's figuring out which one is the least awkward for you. Like even 9-inch circulars. New York Knitter said people who do DPNs are super ninjas. It's someone once said they thought that Magic Loop was like playing a solo, and double points felt like it's like a duet, or not double points. Two circulars seemed like a duet, and then this seemed like a quartet. And so I started my career on double points and thought they were so fiddly. Everything's fiddly though. Like 9-inch circulars are like little itty bitty circulars that you can do your sock without having to ever change needles. And so it's like, that's amazing. And some people think that is the most awesome, and they're fans and they'll never do anything else. I think 9-inch circulars are just as fiddly in a different way, because I've had people who've used 9-inch circulars who are used to double points and other things who go like, oh my gosh, I'm never using these again, because there's no jumping from needle to needle, but they're really, there's not much there to work with. So, and those were a recent invention. So before that, like the oldest form of knitting in a circle, even before circular needles were made, is double points. And so you're taking your circle and you're turning it into a square, and you can just keep rotating around. And yeah, farmer's wife. So Deb's saying she likes different needles for different things. 9-inch circulars for color work. That's true. When I'm doing color work on socks, 9-inch circulars make it easier because there's no jumping. Magic Loop for 2 at a time. Double points for the toes if you use 9-inch circulars is what Deb is saying. Yes. 9-inch circulars, you still need something else for when it's too tight to even fit on the 9-inch circular. So for me, I'd rather just be on something else entirely. But yes, I have used them for color work, and I like that I don't have to worry about the floats between needle jumps. Like you've got a few needle jumps with these. I'll continue my story about my saga with all these in a second. But I'm kind of like, if you need multiple tools, I would just pick a different method. But color work, yes. Every time you jump between needles, the floats can get wonky. So, and every time you jump between needles, even with these, you might have little ladders running down. Like if I really pull on this, or if I really stretch it, you can tell where the join was. It's like right in here where I'm jumping from one needle to the other. Okay, so back to my saga with knitting socks and small circumference knitting. Double points I struggle through, and I would divide into 3. I'd make a triangle. And it is a ranunculus. Hang on a sec. And when I learned Magic Loop, which is one long circular that goes in half and loops out and around and goes in the other half and loops out and around to knit across one side and then knit across the other side. So you're only dividing things in 2. I was like, I'm never using double points again. And then I found out about 2 circulars. Since the shop has opened, I have warmed up to 2 circulars and I used to teach Magic Loop to everyone, and it's a little bit cantankerous to like get used to. It's a little bit awkward. And our knitter Carol does 2 circulars, and my brain could not wrap around it at first. And once I got used to it, then I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm never using Magic Loop again. And then recently with sock knitting, I have gone back to double points. I actually really like them now, and more when I'm doing them 1 at a time. Obviously, although I've had people do 2 at a time, but they have 2 sets of double points. And now I never thought I would use double points with the 4, dividing them into 4. But now I actually like that too. I was like, that's too weird and that's too many of them. But I like that you've got 2 for the upper part of the sock and 2 for the lower when it comes to the foot. And speaking, someone was talking about dropping double points. I almost lost this one. I'm glad your granddaughter could chase it down. Okay, so I tend to use, when I'm doing small circumference knitting, I tend to now default to 2 circulars or double points. And if I'm doing sleeves, I tend to do 2 circulars rather than magic loop. But it really depends on what I have available to me, because if I only have 1 long circular, instead of getting another, I will magic loop. So we've got there was a question about someone liking the colors in my tea. This is my latest Renunculus finish that was in a video a couple weeks ago. This is Noro Sonata Shima, which it changes color on its own. So I can stand up for you. This was 2 balls of Noro Sonata Shima, and I can't remember the colorway because they all have really fun, for me to pronounce names. But I'm rolling over too many things on my floor here. So it's a cotton and silk blend from Noro, and I really love it. And I knew I was going to wear it today because the silk makes it not quite as like summery weather as just straight up cotton would, but it's a little chilly outside, and I've got the window open for some fresh air, and so I knew this would feel and look and be the perfect thing to wear today. So it is the most recent finish of all of my ongoing projects. I finished it while I was on vacation in the middle of July. So, and I can't believe it's already September 1st. This is ridiculous. Anyway, speaking of like what's on the agenda for today. So again, today I'm talking a lot about socks and encouraging people to sign up for the socks seminar so we can talk even more about socks over on Zoom. Someday I'll figure out how to make this work, maybe with a YouTube live instead. But only for people that one's a paid class. Right now I do them on Zoom. But I have that kind of more down. So Renunculus, though, I had a thought this morning and I was like, I'm going to have to wait to do this when when I can like advertise for it and have it as a new upcoming live. So I think next month, I am going to start a new Renunculus with you all during live. I think I've decided that. And the next Renunculus I want to do is, I'm digging in here because I have the yarn in here somewhere, I think. I want to do, it's still earthy colors, right? So it kind of goes with this. This is Fiber Spates Botanical 4-ply. It's a superwash merino. Fiber Spates has a botanical line, but I love their yarn. And it's kind of close to the shop colors. This is Burnt Toffee. And I've been meaning to start this for a while. And I almost this morning was like, I'm going to start it on the live with everybody. And I was like, no, I didn't tell them that's what I was going to do. So this is what I will do for October's live is I've got my really ancient old umbrella swift here, and I will handball it and cast on my Renunculus with y'all in October. And I probably won't get very far because we only meet for about an hour, but I figured that would be a fun thing to do while we're chatting. So this will be next month. So stay tuned for that. Yes, if you'd like to knit one with me. I mean, October is also when I'm starting the Any Day sweatshirt make along by Isolde Teague. And this is Eileen, this is fingering weight. But that has a different Coach and Connect. It doesn't go with the YouTube live channel. So this can be my fun project for YouTube live, and we'll just see where I get to. And we'll see if I'm gonna knit it throughout the month, or I might start it and then save it till the next live. Who knows? The Renunculus just seems to be like the thing for this channel. And so like I did a episode showing off all the different ranunculi that I've made. And that one had 4 times the views that any other video lately has had, whether it was tutorial or blog post. And so it's just like, it just gets the attention, you know, and I love making them. I have not made a fingering weight one yet. If you watch the other video, I have made a lace weight, which is falling apart, but that, yeah, happens sometimes. I think either something nibbled it or it got caught on something. I've made a lace weight. This one is sport weight. And even if I had made one in a fingering weight, this would be different than the other one I made in a fingering weight. But I've done lace weight, sport weight. The one I made out of Zoe, I consider a DK, even though they consider that a sport. I consider Zoe more of a DK weight. And I've made the one with the Cumulus, which is considered a worsted weight, although it's almost, Cumulus is almost happier as being heavier than a worsted, but it works really well. So, yeah. And what I found is people who take to the Renunculus make a whole bunch of them. It's like back when we were doing the Papillon at the beginning of our sideshow YouTube channel, is the Papillon shawl is another one of those that, like, just like the Renunculus, is like you can make it in different thicknesses and different fibers and different needles, and it all, like, each and every one looks new and different. Now, the Renunculus, everyone asks, what size needles did you do that one on, or that one, or that one? They are all made on size 10 needles. I used to jokingly call it the sweater, the magic sweater that always fits. And not really. Like, it was, I've got, Mac is saying she'd love to do a Papillon knit along with us. And, maybe in the future we'll see about that. If we return to the Papillon and I make another one. I have made how many Papillons? I finally finished one that was on the needles for forever. I have one across the room in one of the bags over on the wall that is unfinished. I have finished I finished 4 Papillons. But like when you find, like, there's a lot of patterns that I make it once and I'm done. And I'm like, that was fun. That was good. And Mac is singing my praises. That is really sweet. I appreciate it. There's a lot of, especially colorwork sweaters and stuff. Once they're done, I'm like, that's good. I don't feel the urge to make that one again. I love it. It's like, I have colorwork sweaters that are some of my absolutely favorite sweaters of all time. But I'm not going to make them again. But the Renunculus, it's like I can recognize a Renunculus at 10 paces. But they all look unique and different, and I think gorgeous. I'm biased, right? But like, I've seen so many Renunculus sweaters come through my door, and even from the same people. And even though I can recognize like some of this stitch work at 10 paces and go, I think that's a Renunculus, isn't it? It doesn't mean they all look like copies of each other, because there's so many different ways to modify them. So there's ways to, you can do or not do some of the short rows up top. You can make it cropped, or you can make it long. You can change the sleeves. Like, this is my happy medium between short and long sleeve, is following the long sleeve instructions, but giving it a little bit of a sleeve on it. Who knows? This one, I might do that 3/4 length with the sloped, the kind of angled sleeve instructions that are in the long sleeve instruction one. And I don't know. We'll see. It's going to take 2 or 3 of these probably. But the reason I call it the magic sweater that always fits is, like, without checking gauge, is it's meant to be oversized. So I haven't tested my gauge on this one. If I pull it out, it's actually very wide, but when it just drapes on you, it doesn't look huge. It's not meant to be a fitted sweater. If anything, it's meant to be really flowy, and especially if you pick a thinner weight and a bigger size. It's this, I've mentioned it a lot of times before. It's this Mori girl style from Japan, and the author is Japanese. But it's this, the Mori girl style is to have it be big and loose and drapey, but that still ends up being feminine because it's not super thick. And if you would prefer to have a more structured sweater, you're going to have to play around with gauge. And you may not want the gauge the pattern calls for. So I do all of them on size 10 needles. That doesn't mean my stitch count is the same on all of them, or my gauge stitch count over 4 inches is the same for all of them. But I always pick a size I know would be really, really big. So I have, it's going to fit, whether it fits a little tighter or a little looser, it's going to fit is my theory on that. Right. It's one of those, well, it may not be as open and boxy as I wanted it, but it's not going to be too tight. I don't really have to worry about that. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll make like the biggest size with this, but I'll still be on size 10 needles, and we'll see how it is. And because this is on size 10 needles, it will have a really lovely drape to it, and the stitches will be nice and loose. And if, like I said, if you want a more defined sweater, you're going to have to play around with gauge and shift. Like, it may not fit the way you want it to, because it's not meant to be a close fitting sweater. Some sweaters you can kind of play around with positive or negative ease, and it will be a more defined sweater, but this one's meant to just be kind of open and drapey. So, but everyone loves it. It is always in one of the top YouTube video, it's top YouTube video of my stuff. Like, lots more people have watched those. I think what comes in a close second, or not so close second, is some of my videos that are drawings only about the structure of sweaters. But it really tops my videos. It is always like in the top 10 to 20 patterns on Ravelry. And I don't think my videos are the only reason for that. I think people who found my videos really like them, but I did it because it already was so popular on Ravelry. In fact, we had someone who had joined us for Sit and Stitch in the early days of the pandemic from Columbia, South Carolina. I think Stephanie, who doesn't come to Sit and Stitch anymore because life is life. But she suggested doing it as a make along, and that's, the rest is history. Like, we are all indebted to her. And she's the one who was like, hey, you should think about making this Renunculus, doing it as a make along. And I think I had made, no, maybe I hadn't even made one yet. Liz had made one. And like, I hadn't really tried it yet. And I was like, let me check this thing out. And little did I know, right? And that was back in the days where I pumped out these videos, even when I was super exhausted from work. Oop, just dropped a stitch. I'm catching it. Even when I was super exhausted from work, I would come home, and it was still during the days when we didn't have the shop open every day. So there was some flexibility, but I put some videos out when I was bonkers tired. And I'm always amazed at how well they go. It's kind of amazing. Like, I was planning on doing a color work video today, and I might still tonight, but we have to see. It still might be put off again because I was making the bag and I'm doing this with you all. And it's one of those, it's probably not going to be my best work if and when I make it, especially if I'm tired or run out of time to make it. But sometimes even those videos are okay. So I'd love to get one out about color dominance. And oh, well, thank you, Amy. Yeah, Amy saying the videos came out really well. That was, I want to say it was back in 2021, maybe, or 22. And Yeah, I had no idea. I really just wanted to help people make it. And it's so hard to do that with other patterns now at this point because I really feel like I'd have to collaborate when with the pattern writer and make sure there's so many pattern writers out there who've made their own videos and they don't want anyone else making videos, and for them it isn't a question of which videos work for, like, different videos work for different people. It's a question of, this is my work and I don't want you duplicating it, and I get that. So everybody wants me to do other sweaters or other things, and it's like, it's really tough to try to do something everybody wants to do. So and Deb is absolutely right. You can be surprised when your best work is done, and sometimes it's just when you don't overthink it and just do it, right? So Mac is saying, you talk about how to prevent the colors on the back to show between your columns of other stitches. Are you talking? So I think you're talking about the floats in color work. Um, I It's kind of tough to have a perfect solution to that because sometimes that's why. So here's all my floats on this little guy, right? Here's all my floats, and I'm keeping them super super loose, and the floats. But sometimes if your gauge, like if you've picked a really thin yarn for a colorwork sweater, then your stitches are going to be really open, and you're going to, like, if I stretch this, you still can't really see the floats. That's great. Sometimes it's the yarn matching the gauge for the pattern or not. And that's tough because that's a whole lot of, I bought all this yarn and now it doesn't work for this pattern. Sometimes, yes. You know what? Let me see if I have this guy in here. Sometimes people will have tighter stitches so the colors don't show through. Sometimes that's one of the reasons I try not to lock my floats down very much if I can help it, or try to lock them above stitches of the same color as my float. And sometimes it's just, you might be seeing it more than anyone else does. So um it's tough to advise you to go down a size because it's hard to know if that's going to change the fit of, like, if Mac, you are working on the golden fern, because I know you were before, and it's a question of the stitches are showing. Like, you don't necessarily want to, yeah, like Deb is saying, you need to worry, like, you don't want to shift your gauge so much that suddenly, like, you get a balloon sweater because it goes in. So there's a point where going down needle sizes is going to change what happens. I think it's a both a question of how much and where you're locking your floats, and also how loose your floats are, because I will say, like, and some of this will shift after you block it, depending on the material. I did this sweater. This is fingering weight unlike, and see, when I hold it like this, you can see all my floats in there, and some have caught because I didn't lock my floats. But this is fingering weight unlike a size 6 or something like that, like a 4 millimeter. And I had to I was worried about floats showing, and some of these have snagged because I did not lock my floats much, because yes, and Mac is a member of our Harvester Coach and Connect, and we've talked about this, but Deb brings up a good point of not locking floats on the same stitch in consecutive rows. Okay, so you've got the yellow. It could be okay, if you went up a needle size because the pattern told you to, you can try going back down, because it is the same size as the rest of your sweater. A lot of people recommend larger needles for color work to help with the floats being loose enough. And I was just super loosey goosey with my floats. You can't, like up here, you'll be like, what? Like this snagged. Anywhere where the gauge, where you can see like a kink in the yarn is like where the actual stitch was locked in before, is where you'll see a kink in the yarn on this side. That means it's snagged. But these guys, I didn't lock them in. And yes, some have caught and pulled, but some haven't. And even though I was on a 4mm and the stitches are like, I can be on the back side. Y'all can't see me, but I can see the computer lights and the screen through this. So the stitches are not tight, but you don't see the floats as much. And I am being theoretical here. I don't know for certain, but I would say it is how loose I let my yarn stretch. Rather than changing needle sizes or other things, because going up a needle size can make sure that your stitches are bigger. So there might be more room for it to give in the back to have the floats looser. But it also makes your main color stitches bigger, which can sometimes let the other color shine through. What I will say about this, I think when I made it, I was worried that the floats would show, and I was seeing the floats, but I may not see it now that it's done and it's been lived in for a while, because the yarn kind of fluffed up a little bit. But that's because it's superwash merino, or it's wool. Sometimes if you're using a cotton or cotton blend, it may not fill the space. There may not be as much elasticity to it, so it's going to be harder for it to function like that. I think when I didn't do the color dominance right on this one, and I could have had, this is my example I always show of correct color dominance, where the contrast color was on the left, and one where my contrast color was on the right. Now there could have been other things happening here. I could have been pulling my floats tighter. I could have, like, this guy got yanked big time. I could have, there's a lot of things that also could have been different in this. I could have just gotten better with my color work one to the other. But I don't see a huge difference. I see pulls on both of these, but I don't see a huge difference. This is the one. I'm seeing it backwards. I hate that. This is the one with my, if anything, see the floats look looser here. This is the one with correct color dominance, and this is the one that didn't. And the one with correct color dominance, the floats don't look as loose, and yet they are not as visible. Like this just tugged on everything in weird ways. So sometimes color dominance can help. I think it's just, I literally will put a finger behind my work, so the float has to go over my finger to help keep, like, I'll stick my finger back there so that when I'm knitting, or like, it's usually with two-handed color work, it's the one that's in your left hand that is doing the detail work and not used as often, and the floats that show. And I will, like, stick my finger down in behind the work so that where my last stitch was is over here, and I won't be able to yank it tight when I go to flip a wrap around with this hand, because this is keeping the extra slack in place. So yeah. Amy's asking about notes for all of this. This should still be available. And Deb, it might be available for longer than a month. The Facebook ones go away after a month. I don't know about, I think the YouTube, I don't make them delete. So they hopefully will stay around for a while, but you may have to go into, like, if you go to my YouTube page for this and you go to videos, you might have to click on the live tab to see these. They may not be categorized the same way. I try to have this put into the playlist of Rebecca at Home as well, but you might have to search for, like, I think I've captioned this one because I had to make it up on the fly, September Live. um, to find this again. But I really like my best guess is it's about having these floats stay super, super loose because the tighter they are, the more they're going to pull at everything around it. And the more they're going to press up against your stitches. And so if you can keep your floats loose, that's the best I can think of because, and there's times like if I pull, if I really pull on this, we can start to and press this up against it. We can start to see my strands back in here like bleeding through. And so it really is about um the tension in the fabric, like I think is really what it is. And that's why, whoops, I'm losing stitches. I knew I would. That could be why. So many people, like I tell people, and I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious. I tell people to absolutely forget about gauge and tension when you're doing color work. If anything, try not to have tension. And sometimes the way people knit, it's really, really hard to do that. Oh, I hope the operation goes well. I'm going to wrap up in a couple of minutes too. It was so wonderful to have you with us from Denmark, right? If I mess up countries, I'm so sorry. But I hope you have a wonderful day and a good surgery and a good recovery. So, um yeah, I have to go in a couple of minutes too. And I don't have a ladder back jacquard tips and tricks. I have used that on one of my sweaters. That's one that with long floats will oh, and Donna Georgie's having a knee replacement as well. Oh my gosh, there's so many people having major surgeries. I hope everything goes really, 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 really well. Um, ladder back jacquard. So that's a technique that you kind of knit stitches with the floats and they disappear onto the back side of the work. And it's really pretty. I have found it adds some thickness to things. So I tried to use it in socks I was doing, my herding cat socks, and I felt like it added volume where I didn't want it. So I think it's good for sweaters and things. And but not necessarily for fine detail work. And it's extra work with where you have the long passes. And that's why on this one I have not been locking things in unless there's something else to lock it to nearby, like a stitch underneath it that is the same color so it won't show through as much, and only if it's over 10 stitches. My rule of thumb used to be 5 or 6, and now I'm letting it go as long as 10 because regardless, you're going to snag your knitting when you put it on and take it off. So, but lots of downtime to knit, New York Knitter is saying. So, and some of you, I'm sorry if you've got nicknames. I probably know who you are without the nickname, and you've probably told me at the beginning of this who you were, like the strict knitter who was on here, and only some of them can I hold in my head. So, yeah. So, that's my best advice about stranded color work and things like that, and trying not to obsess over it too much. Like this one, my I don't care bar for this. Actually, the reason my I don't care bar for this and how the two sleeves look different is because now it's a really good example. I'm leaving it because it's a really good example of color dominance versus not, using it versus not. But it really is about being as loosey-goosey as you can. And that's hard when we've all been taught to keep our stitches regular. And I have found for me, and it may not work for everybody, but for me, keeping like I kept my stitches as loose as possible. And there's parts in here where it looks a little ragged, but once it's done and blocked, no one's going to really see it. And I did that on my Avena, and everyone gives me massive compliments on it. And I see all the mistakes, of course, but no one says, "Hey, you've got a loose stitch there." Like, what? They just say, "Wow, what a beautiful sweater." So, I am going to start wrapping up because we have now hopefully made up for the glitch that took 5 or 6 or 10 minutes. to, oh, Jennifer Steingass has a sale, buy 3 patterns, get 1 free, or buy 2. That's fun. Yes, blocking is your friend. Blocking helps a lot of things. It doesn't help everything. It's not a magic cure, but it helps a lot. It's really cool. So we'll see. I might have to be nice to myself and not do the video I wanted to do today on this. I really want to do this video, but I'm really feeling that it's been a long day already. So we'll see. But it's really great to hang with y'all. And if I don't finish do this video today, I still do hope to make it soon. It really depends on how the week goes, because I plan to make it when I came home from work someday this past week. And either it was too busy or too slow. And believe it or not, being too slow is also a problem. So we'll see. What I might try to do is bring some of my setup to the shop where I have some good lighting. So y'all have started to get used to some of my videos being at the shop now in the teaching room. Now that I have that space, if it's super crazy slow at the shop, I hope it's not. But if it is, then maybe I can get pieces of this video done at the shop, and then I can put together a video for y'all sometime this week. So on color dominance, and it's not going to be like the one I had. I already have a video here that I can try to put in the chat, although I'm trying to wrap up right now, about stranded colorwork knitting. And I think that was about charts and other things. And this will not be about the charts and how to read the charts and everything. It'll just be about how to hold your yarn with like either 2 hands or 1 hand to get proper color dominance. That's what I want to focus on this time if I'm able to make a video. So thank y'all for coming and joining and hanging out with me. And keep, what's the date? I'm going to look it up right now. Keep October, let's see, October 6th on your calendar, because yes, I'm so glad y'all could spend some time with me. October 6th will be the next live, and I plan to start a ranunculus in that one. So if you want to start a ranunculus, if we can help you but with the yarn, provide the yarn, of course, we're always going to be happy with that, but not necessary. If you would like to start a ranunculus with me, I think that's a fun thing, since this channel has really taken off because of the ranunculus. Let's do a ranunculus. Why not? And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I get addicted enough to knit between lives, or if I'm only knitting my ranunculus with you on the live. That could be really fun too. So it's really good to hear from everyone too. I'm echoing Edith's sentiment here, and safe travels to Edith. And also like thoughts and thoughts and prayers, and keeping everyone. My time teaching at a Quaker school, I call it holding people in the light. Everyone who needs healing right now, or is stressed, or is, life, keeping you all in the light. And crafting is a form of therapy. Crafting, knitting, stitching, crocheting, all these things is a way to regulate yourself and your soul. So if possible, if it's helpful, pick up the crafting when times get tough. And as I always like to sign off, because I'm going to sign off now, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. I'll see everybody either on YouTube or Sit and Stitch or all those things. Final plug for my 2 at a time toe up socks seminar. We'd love to have some more people join us. You can purchase it through our online shop in the lessons and classes tab. And I'll see who is joining that on Sunday, September 7th. It's this next Sunday coming up. So you still have a few more days to decide and purchase that. But we love it. Awesome. Bye, everyone.